she leans back in her chair, she smiles, and she says, "You know, Gary, you can have it all. You just can't do it all on your own." I've known that for back then it was 17 years, but here, finally, a very successful lawyer is telling me,
Says it.
and I'm like,
Says
"You
it.
said it. That's it. You just hit the nail
Well,
on the head."
welcome to Be Your Own Boss. Today, we're talking about what it really takes to build a successful business without letting it take over your life. My guest is Gary Mitchell, an entrepreneur, author, speaker, and business coach who has spent more than 2 decades helping law firm owners and other professional service leaders grow with greater clarity, freedom, and purpose. Gary's path has taken him from theater and political campaigns to building national events and coaching entrepreneurs. In this conversation, he shares why the best business owners focus on their strengths, build the right team around them, and stop trying to do everything on their own. We also discuss leadership, perfectionism, people skills, taking smart risks, and Gary's and approach to building both a thriving business and a fulfilling life. Let's get into it. All right. Welcome to another installment of Be Your Own Boss. I'm your host, David Gamble. Here we're to discuss a person's life and career and what got them to this point. Today I have Gary Mitchell. He is a founder, law firm architect, business coach, author, and speaker. Greetings and welcome, Gary. Please introduce yourself to the audience and share your backstory.
Thank you, David. It's wonderful to be with you here today. I love talking shop with other adventurers, so to speak, right? Being your own boss. I can't think of another a way to make a living or live life. Okay, I'm going to give you the Coles notes on the background. I guess it was about 34 years ago. Yeah, 34 years ago and a bit. I started my first business out of Toronto. No experience, no business school. In fact, I went to school for theater, graduated. But I just had an entrepreneurial bent. Someone gave me an idea, and I built a national event with national marketing partners, big companies, and national media coverage, including the Canadian equivalent of 60 Minutes. Okay, the show is called W5. Like, it's solid journalism, right? Anyway,
Right.
I was very proud of that. That brought me to Vancouver. And I had to be honest, David, with all the traveling I've done throughout the US, Canada, and the world, I looked around and went, what am I doing living in Toronto? So I moved out to the coast. And within a short period of time, I re-engaged with another one of my passions, politics. Volunteered, campaigned, and soon I found myself going up for a nomination to become a candidate for parliament. Nomination would be like your primaries in the U.S. to run to be the candidate, right? So I won, and there I am, the candidate, and putting my money where my mouth was, so to speak. It was one of the most amazing experiences of my lifetime in so many ways. I won't hover on that. I'm glad I lost, and I truly mean that. I'm glad I lost. The following election, I found myself in the position of running a nomination for a lawyer with no experience. We had so much fun. It was basically I had to drop everything else I was doing with my business and focus everything on the attention. He won the nomination. Then I ran his campaign. I coached him as a candidate. He had the most amazing transformation. I mean, this was a highly intellectual. He still is highly intellectual. Double major or double masters, geology and law. So talk about, double whammy intellectual, head smart. But like a blank canvas, like an artist working with a blank canvas. It was an aha moment in my life, David. I had always been the guy, right? And now I was the one behind the curtain, the one behind the guy. And to watch another human being go through a transformation on that level, due in part to my advice, my guidance, and my direction, was just the most amazing thing. At the same time, his best friend, a lawyer, suggested after he'd seen what I'd done with his friend that I really should take a look at working with lawyers. They really needed help with the business side, the people skills of the business side of law, not the lawyering side. I'm not a lawyer, never have been. And I was like, really? After I picked my jaw up off the pavement, I began about 9 months of research, what was going on in the UK, Australia, US, and Canada in the legal industry. Not a lot. I have to say, like I was definitely an early adopter, one of the first lawyer coaches to come about. Serendipitously, the first chapter of the Legal Marketing Association outside of the United States was being formed in Vancouver. I went to the meeting, networked, met a ton of veteran legal marketers from the US coming up to speak at this event. Within a few months, I was asked to join the board. And, my first article was published and my first client within a couple of months thereafter. And 20 years later, my fourth book was just published last month. We'll dive into some of the principles of this. They're not only applicable for lawyers, they're applicable for all business owners, entrepreneurs, and founders. So here I am with you and happy to go in whatever direction you want to take the conversation.
You pointed out the fact of you said theater and you said acting. Did that have an influence on kind of being more outspoken? Do you feel
Oh,
like that
I
had an
think
influence on
so.
that?
I think so. More importantly, it was just another factor. When I go back and look and reflect from, say, high school on,
Yeah.
all my interests were around the study of people. So theater, history, sociology, politics, all of it. So
It's
in effect,
it's
my
human
whole life,
interaction, right? It's human
it's
interaction,
human
human
interaction,
relationships.
psychology, sociology. So I can see the path now. I mean, I didn't choose this path. It was chosen for me, but I can see how it came together, right? Like people have always they still do. I'm always like when I'm at the airport, I just I have no problem going early and just sitting and watching people. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
fascinating. Okay.
My
So I think more than the being outgoing, because I think I was outgoing before theater. Um, that's just a personality, and you don't have to be outgoing to be entrepreneurial or successful in business. By the way, I have had many introverts successful clients. But I think the most important thing about the theater is you really have to study people. When you're going to be a character, to take on a character, you have to fully understand the inner workings, how their mind works, their habits. Like you really have to embrace the whole character. And for people who have never acted or um, haven't actually had the experience of doing it, they may not understand that. There's a lot of psychology in acting. So it was one component of the various things that have led me to studying people, watching people, being able to communicate with people, uh, give them direction. I mean, I do remember coaching a couple of sporting teams and directing a couple of productions, and I did have that same kind of feeling when the actors were on stage or the athletes were out on the field. There's nothing you're not in the game, right? You're not on
right,
the stage.
right.
So it's a different kind of nervousness. I would imagine I'm not a parent, but I would imagine it's the same as having children and the nervousness of them growing up and being happy and successful in their lives for what they determine to be successful, because you're hands off now, right? You've done the work. Now all you can do is stand off in the sidelines and hope and cheer them on. So it's a different kind of, but I really love it, and I've always loved helping people. I mean, I always made the joke, David, when I was younger, I wanted to help people whether they wanted it or not. Now, over the years, I've learned, I've learned that that's not the best approach. I can only truly help people when they really need the help that I can give them, right? So, anyway,
Yeah, it's the old saying to teach your peers when the student is ready, right? So
that's
if
right.
the
That's
student is
true.
not ready, that you can't teach them anything, right? Uh,
No,
I
no. And
don't necessarily.
that candidate was like a sponge. He was open. Um, he was just absorbing all because I was a good candidate. I had not only did I have the theater training, but I had a lot of media experience with the first business. So that was something that came to me naturally. And then of course I got professional training and support. I didn't just rely on that. And he took everything. I remember him beating the two veteran candidates in a live television debate, and there I was, like a proud father, like smiling ear to ear. But yeah. the student has to be ready. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's you mentioned it. What kind of describe what was the first business? Because I don't think.
Well, okay. So I took a little, this, you're going to find this funny. This is the early 90s, okay? Karaoke was just going huge in North America. So I took this little business where I started out as a karaoke host. I had a management job, but I looked in the paper, went to this karaoke one night and thought, what a fun side hustle. You know, this is long before that term was even around, early 90s. What a
Right.
fun side hustle to get up and sing and host and invite, because I love people. I love to see people enjoying themselves, right? Whether they're good or not doesn't matter. They're having
Just
fun.
just
That's
having fun.
awesome
Yep.
to watch.
Mhm.
Exactly. So I go and audition, and then this guy him and his wife were going to be going down to Florida for the winter. So he asked me if I'd be interested in taking over the business and growing it. And he would make a commission. He would make a percentage of what he was leaving me, and then a percentage of what I would grow because I was going to use his equipment. Soon after that, I got the idea to create the Great Canadian Karaoke Challenge, which took the contest coast to coast, even one of the territories, in bars and restaurants across Canada, and we attached it to a fundraiser for Easter seals the first year
Right.
for children, and we got national media attention. I mean, this is really entrepreneurial because, again, no experience, like I'm dealing with major corporations sponsoring this event, and I'm walking into marketing directors.
Marketing
I'm
firms, right?
25, right? The first year we got little to nothing media. We got what we paid for. It was a friend of the chairman of Easter Seals, and she didn't got us any immediate attention. I'm like, come on, man. Karaoke's taken off everywhere. We're attached to a charity. It's a good cause. There's a story here. Well, I just took on the media the second year, and it exploded. We got media coverage in the major markets, national television coverage, radio coverage, and I just learned a lot. And that's the typical plight of the entrepreneur, right? They have an idea. They might not necessarily have had the experience doing, but you get in there and you try, and you make some mistakes, and you learn, and you pick yourself up, and you take that learning and move on. Um, so that was an important foundation. One of the podcast host the other day was suggesting, he's talked to a lot of business coaches, and he said, I think what really sets you apart, Gary, is you are truly an entrepreneur. You're not just a business coach, right? You're not just giving advice as a coach. You are giving advice as a real entrepreneur. And I actually think of myself as a serial entrepreneur. I can't not do this. I love to build and I love to grow. So now I'm in a position for the last 20 years where it's not just about me building and growing. I get to help my clients build and grow every day. And it's just awesome, you know?
Well, yeah, and then that's a good statement. It's kind of entrepreneurship is basically looking for the need to fill, right? If
That's
there's
right.
a need, you're going to fill it, which is kind of helping somebody, but it's
Yep.
not necessarily selling a product. It's selling the idea
Providing a
of doing
solution.
something different, right? Right.
Yeah. Providing
Providing
a
a solution.
solution. That's
Yeah.
right. A solution by way of product or service to a need or challenge. Yeah.
All right. So how did the karaoke job feed into the politics? When you started
Well, you
talking
know
about
what?
getting into that.
All these skills are related. It's communications, it's marketing. Um, I was always very passionate about politics. I mean, I grew up in a family that followed politics, talked about politics. I remember going out with my father during campaigns, door knocking and putting up signs from the age of 9. And I'd be listening. I'd be listening to the conversations at the
How's-
doorstep. I'd be
Yeah.
listening to the conversations when my grandfather was over for Sunday dinner. I'd be watching the news, watch what was going on in U.S. and Canada, because the 70s and 80s there was a lot going on politically, and so I kind of, again, I've always been gravitating towards things around people and the fascination of, how we evolve, history, where we've come from, mistakes we've made, mistakes we're repeating, right?
Right. Right.
From the past. So then all of that is also transferable in business because it's all about people skills, connection. It comes down to connection and communication.
Well,
So everything in
right, and
go ahead.
believability, right, and integrity
Yeah,
and trust.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
not to get into politics, but I was listening to a podcast about Plattner, and the key aspect of that is that how he reacted to being caught,
Mm,
and it's the integrity of him admitting it, and coming forward and not trying to subvert it. What so it's being forthcoming, being human, right? Because we all
mm.
make mistakes,
Well,
and
you
it's
just hit it there, David. You just hit it there.
yeah,
Um, there's a lot of politicians get a bad rap, but like any other profession, there are good and there are good and bad people in any profession.
yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
but the thing that we have to remember is that we are all human beings,
Yep,
right? We are
yep,
flawed. We make mistakes. The key thing is when you make a mistake, you need to own it, right? And not be ashamed. Not be ashamed. I mean, some mistakes are worse than others. I'm not familiar with that situation. I have to admit, but in general, um, we
but it's a
must admit our
it's a common
mistakes.
right, but it's a common theme, right? It's
Yes.
because it's always the last 10 years, 15 years, whenever social media started, it's
Oh yeah.
becoming to everybody has a voice, but if they
Yeah.
don't have the experience, why am I listening to them?
Yep.
Right?
I
If they
agree.
haven't if
I
they
agree.
haven't walked the walk, why are they talking about it?
Yeah.
And why
Well,
are
there's
we
a lot of
listening
that.
to them?
There's a lot of
Right?
that. The social media has given everyone a megaphone, so everyone's an expert now, but
Right.
they're
Not
not.
as an interview, just like we're doing, not as oh, we'll just have a discussion about your experience and how can
Mhm.
it help me? How can it help the audience? And not
Yep.
trying to be I don't know, influencer or whatever. It's just trying to make sure
Exactly.
everybody gets the the do's and don'ts of what was good for you may not be good for somebody else, but at least they have a story saying that if they ever come across something similar, they may come up with the same type of solutions. But without
Hmm.
that, we're not all experts just because
No.
we talk about business or a particular
Well,
business.
it's one
Oh,
thing when I'm working with clients. I mean, think about it. Lawyers are probably the most skeptical, critical, analytical, risk averse people on the planet. Um, I would never BS. If a lawyer asks me a question in a coaching session or in a
yeah,
presentation
yeah,
and I don't know the answer, I do not BS. I said, you know what? I don't know, but I'm going to find out for you because I'm connected to a lot of other professionals serving the industry. And I'm not going to try and do something that I'm not an expert in. I stay in my wheelhouse. I'm good at what I do. But if I'm asked to go outside of that, then I bring in other professionals. Um, there's no way I'm going to like. First of all, I also love what I do,
right.
and some of the other things that lawyers might ask me to do, I don't like. And like anyone else, and I tell this to my clients, if there's a task on your plate that you're not really fond of, you are going to procrastinate, and you are never going to be good at it. So that leads us back to the book and the whole philosophy. Okay, lawyers, like many entrepreneurs, especially when they're starting out, try to be all things to all people. They try to do all the tasks. I have to nip that in the bud right away. I'm saying, like, from the very beginning, doing a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Right.
You're probably old enough. I don't know. I am definitely old enough to remember the old school of thought on SWOT analysis, which was pick up your socks, fix your weaknesses, right? Well, one of my favorite business gurus, leadership and operational business gurus, Steve Jobs, comes along and he turns that theory upside down. He says, no, 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 no. Forget your weaknesses. Focus all of your attention on
On the
your
strengths.
strengths and master them. And I've taken that to the next level. And I suggest to my clients they become a Jedi. I like to
Right.
use little acronyms, and no one
Right.
can, everyone understands Star Wars. I mean, everyone on the planet. So, and it really makes sense because I use it, I do it in my own business, and it's such a relief. I mean, this is the end approach. Focus on your strengths, build an amazing team around you, who will naturally fill the gaps left open by your weaknesses. And you're going to get freedom from that. The very act of doing that, you're taking things off your plate that you shouldn't be doing in the first place, freeing you up to do more of what you love and what you're great at. And then you're getting people who are much better at those tasks than you are filling. So you're going down the growth model and freedom model. There's the and approach in a quick nutshell. This and that. And in some cases, David, there's this and this and this and this. And it all makes sense to be doing it at the same time because it's all related. It's not like, oh, I have to do this and focus on this. They're separate things. They might be separate things, but they're all intertwined, right?
Right. But you
So
don't have to,
that's
like
a
you
great,
said, don't have to do all of it because you may
no,
not be the
that's the
best
thing.
at
The
marketing.
challenge with lawyers is that they are highly intelligent and they can do a lot of things. Okay. They are much higher functioning human beings than the average. But I always say to them, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should be doing it. No, no.
Well, engineers are the same way. Engineers are very logical. And as soon as they hit that non-technical aspect, they think they can wire it to where it works. And if
Right. Yeah.
so, they try to apply the same principles to business,
And, and
and it can fall.
there's there's a very important fact because when you think about it, uh, similar like other professional services who are highly intelligent, accountants, architects, engineers, lawyers, doctors, dentists, they're practitioners. They're very intelligent and focused on the art of what they do or the craft of what they do. That takes a certain type of mindset and skill set and personality traits. But here's the thing: that mindset, that skill set, that those set of personality traits are diametrically opposed to those of an entrepreneur. Completely opposite.
Yeah, yeah,
I work with my clients the whole chapter on the lawyer mind versus the entrepreneur mind, left brain functions versus right brain functions. And a lot of your audience would understand this. The left brain functions of critical thinking, analytical, the technical, right? The right brain functions of creativity, empathy, communication, innovation, opportunity seeking, taking risks. This is
yes,
so. This
yes.
is the going back to the
Well,
study of
you said
people.
risk taking.
Yeah,
Businesses today in at least the U.S. At least the bigger ones, they're risk averse.
yeah,
They're really
yeah.
not willing to
But
do
I'm not
something
working with big
abnormal.
business. I'm
Yeah,
working with small business and
yeah,
entrepreneurs, and we do take risks. We
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Um, no, you're right. The big businesses, and I think that's a lot. That's a lot to do with what's going on in the world. And we won't dive. We won't get off
Yeah,
our
yeah, yeah.
train of
I
thought.
just,
But
yeah,
yeah, I
there,
understand the different cycles within business. Right. I mean, in the '80s, big business was taking tons of risks. Think about
yes,
IT and the whole tech. Right.
yep,
Apple, Microsoft. They were taking huge risks. Um, but I understand whether or not. But I want to focus on my little niche because I don't work with big companies. I work with entrepreneurs and small business owners who, in both the U.S. and Canada, account for over 80% of our GDPs. Right.
right, right,
So this is actually I've adopted this as a mission, David, to shout out to the world, entrepreneurs, small business owners. You can build a very successful business and have the freedom in your life to enjoy the fruits of your labor. You
right,
can
right,
with the right strategy, with setting the intention. You know, part of the reason, the inspiration for how all this come together, because it's nothing new. I've been watching the carnage and the burnout and the stress and the anxiety for 20 years. But I was interviewing this highly successful tax lawyer from Long Island, New York, towards the end of 2023. Lovely woman, interviewing her, and she get this, okay. First of all, she was a woman, a woman at the latter stage of her career. So if you look back at the age, she was growing her own law firm. That's a successful feat on its own, because women, again, in law, were not predominantly law firm leaders or owners. Okay, she built a multi seven figure tax law firm while only working 2 days a week in the office because she made it in her intention was to build a successful law firm and raise her two daughters.
Ah,
That was her
right.
end.
That was her end.
So she was working, but she was working from home. She would have nothing to do with having a nanny raise her daughters. She wanted to raise them herself. So there is one of the best examples I could give you of the and approach, right? But she set that intention. She built a team around her. She built systems, right? So near the interview, and this is all in the book because I do dedicate the book to her, because it really just grabbed me. She leans back in her chair, she smiles, and she says, "You know, Gary, you can have it all. You just can't do it all on your own." I've known that for back then it was 17 years, but here finally a very successful lawyer is telling me,
Says it.
and I'm like,
Says
"You
it.
said it. That's it. You just hit the nail
Well,
on the head."
yeah. I mean, it's what's the old adage about all was it all tides lift all boats? You know, the tide
Yes.
coming in lifts all boats. It doesn't single out somebody. It'll lift all
No.
boats if everybody gets on the same page.
Yeah.
It's That's an adage that's very good, and it kind of falls into what you're talking about earlier about the being able to focus on your strengths and then kind of delegate to other folks. And I see
Yeah.
to this day, I still see talking with engineers, and these are not large firms. These are like design houses that have maybe less than
Yeah.
20 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't know how to get out of the way out of their own way to grow their business. Maybe they don't want to grow it. I don't know. But when they come
I
with
think they
attitude,
do, but
they start to pick it up.
yeah, no, I think they do. Inherently, they do. It's human nature, but they just don't know where to start. And I would give them some advice: is start with your strengths, build an A team around you. You're going to have to let go of some control, which is going to be tough because you are a perfectionist. That's another thing I talk about in the book. How do I know it? I can recognize it, David, because I'm a recovering perfectionist. As an author, you simply cannot exist holding on to perfectionism. You have to let things go, right? So
What?
here's
But
the thing. Here's the
yeah,
thing. Here's the thing I always say, and I use this example in the book. Imagine this is about perfection and business. Imagine in the 80s if Microsoft waited to perfect software.
we would never get it, right? It's kind of like,
We would
yeah,
never have had Microsoft become the $1 trillion business it is today. Okay?
right,
It
right.
would never have happened. They did not wait. They got stuff on the market. Everybody complained
Well,
about it, but it moved the needle. It helped us a bit. Then they went back, they fixed it. They're still fixing it. They're still making jokes about Outlook, but we're all buying it. We're all using it. And it's all helped our lives tremendously over the last 40 years. There is the best example of the opposite of perfectionism. Good is good enough. Get it out there. You can always improve it.
that's
That's my
that's
life. My thing. I can.
yeah, same way with
But
engineers. We
oh
don't want
yeah.
to put a design or package out until we're like Nat's ass on the design. And I'm like, dude,
But there. Okay.
we're
But
not,
I
we're not,
understand. I do
yeah.
understand because I know what some of the engineers listening to this are going. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He has no idea the pressure we have. Yes, I fully understand the pressure you have. You make a mistake and a bridge can fall down. I get it. I really do. But that's in your craft. And I'm not asking you to change your mindset about your craft. I'm talking about the business side
Yes,
because you
exactly.
can and will and actually should make mistakes on the business side. Don't change what you're doing as an engineer or a lawyer or an architect or a brain surgeon. I'm not any one of those things. I'm an entrepreneur. Okay.
Right, right.
So I'm not crazy. I know what I'm talking about. You be the best damn engineer you can. And if you have no interest in becoming a great leader, then hire a great leader and get them to help you build the team around you to grow your business. That's
Exactly.
the best advice I can give any
Some,
professional service provider, right?
Sometimes they
Like,
can't get out of their own way. They just can't get out of their own way.
well, that's
And
human. I mean, I've done that many times. You know what? It's one of my affirmations. Every morning I keep saying, Gary, stay out of your own way.
that's probably a good one to write down.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
so
it is written down, and I say it every morning.
yeah, so let's kind of go back to the, we kind of got off track as far as your career. So you kind of got into the lawyer firm. So how did you develop that? I guess something that wasn't there before. How did that
Yeah.
all kind of fall into your lap?
Okay,
I mean,
that's a good question. Okay, so I did the 9 months of research, right, to
yeah.
basically confirm the need. And what the need was, the primary need back then, what that I was aware of at the time, was lawyers being able to build their own book of business. In other words, attract their own clientele.
Mm,
Okay, so
right.
that required, like, how do they do it? They network, they write, they speak, they demonstrate their expertise. Basically, they're marketing and building relationships, business
Yes.
development.
Hmm.
So all my coaching in the early days was centered on that. Okay. As I got in and I started working with small firm owners, oh, then I was exposed to all the other challenges they face, right? The HR, the hiring, the leadership challenges, the operational challenges, right? So over the years, it just kept growing and growing. My curiosity and listening, that's probably 99% of coaching or consulting. My clients taught me. I mean, basically, this is the other thing too. If you don't get anything else from this podcast, listeners, get this. Ask your clients the right questions, and they will tell you everything that you need to serve them. Okay, they will tell you everything you need. You just have to ask. Okay, and listen intently, and make note of it. So my clients have taught me. They've taught me what challenges they have, and together we have brainstormed solutions. Or I'll go away after a coaching call and I'll think, okay, what's a practical? I always like to keep things simple and practical. What is the shortest line between this challenge and this solution, right? Knowing who I'm working with, knowing the overall characteristics of lawyers, but knowing the personal characteristics of this individual, because everyone's different, right? I might use the approaches from client to client to client, but the application is
Is
always a
different.
little bit tweaked and customized because we're dealing with different people, right? Human beings, and we're different. So I'm never bored. I have to say that. I'm never bored. Um, One of my philosophies is when I stop learning, light the match. I'm done. You know.
You mean dig the hole?
Well, whatever you want to do first, light the
Oh, if you
match,
want to
dig the
like,
hole.
okay, I understand now. Don't worry
You
about it.
get, yeah, no,
Yeah, I got the idea.
don't bother wasting any earth. Just light the match.
It's
You know.
just like the match. Gotcha, gotcha. So so you know, you got the and or the one book that you have.
Yeah.
Kind of tell me about the future and book. So what is the next
Okay.
challenge for you that you're going after, and how's that developing?
So what I'm doing is I'm expanding on the and approach. We'll be having the companion workbooks up on the website within a couple of weeks. I'm doing a LinkedIn Live event on July 28th. I don't know that this podcast will air before that, probably not. And what I will be doing is going through some of the strategies, like deeper dive than what we talked today on actually how to do these things. And I'll be introducing the AND approach law firm growth mastermind coming up in the spring or in September.
September.
At
Yeah.
the same time, I will be introducing the AND approach app. So for those lawyers who are more like a DIY, right? They'll have the app, they'll have the books, the companion workbooks. They can have the one-to-one premium coaching with me if they really want that extra focus, or they can do the mastermind group. So I basically want to get just the content, the strategies, the proven mythology out there for as many people as possible. Now, having said that, the next stage will be broadening that out to work with all professional services firm owners. Okay, so all professional services entrepreneurs looking to grow their firms. I have done a little bit of work with engineers in the past, many years ago. So I do know what you're talking about. When I went to do a presentation at the firm, it reminded me of the first time I spoke in front of lawyers. It was very much the same poker face, no reaction, no feedback.
They're
It
studying
was like,
you. They're like, can I trust
yeah,
this guy?
exactly.
What is this Gary
Yes,
coming from?
Exactly, absolutely. Analytical, critical, absolutely.
Yep.
Thank God
Yeah.
I had the political experience, so I had thick skin.
Yeah, you kind of have to do
So I
that,
will
right? You kind
be.
of have to cut through that red tape.
Oh yeah, like you just
Yeah.
I mean, I am confident. I know what I'm talking about because I've worked with enough clients. I've seen the results, right? It is practical. I know there's people that are skeptics. There always will be, and that's fine, right? It's part of. That's another thing. I mean, the skills that it takes to be a great engineer, I don't want to take away from that. That's what
No.
makes them a great
No.
engineer. It's the same with the lawyers. That's why we hire them. So I'm not criticizing them at all. I'm just suggesting what I have is different and can help them grow a business. I'm not trying to be an engineer.
Yeah.
They maybe want to rethink trying to be an entrepreneur unless they can adapt the entrepreneur skill set, mindset, and approaches, right? And some of them can without help, but a lot of them probably would do with a faster path if they actually got some support and help in doing so.
I mean, it's interesting. Have you ever considered? And this is fascinating because a few years back, I don't know how long ago it was. Actually, it was right before the pandemic. I was actually thinking about getting into improv. We have a local
Oh yeah,
theater, improv, and I thought that would be an excellent idea to kind of um, hone the relationship skills. Because as an engineer, like you said, everything you mentioned before about introvert, watching folks, kind of being very meticulous about how people react. I'm every time I go out, I'm a people watcher, just like you. And
yeah,
it's kind of like I probably can go on for another 20 minutes about something that happened, when I was out today. But
yeah.
going back to improvising, you talk about the questions. That's what sometimes when you get a setting to be able to improvise and be able to have those toolkit that kind of get you in the right ballpark of what the situation is and how to present yourself. Because it's engineers and possibly lawyers. I mean, I haven't known very many lawyers, but I would think that that would be the same condition of, would you recommend that? Would you recommend some type of acting to kind of get him out of that, to understand that you can be more than yourself, right? As a growth opportunity.
That's an interesting question because if you remember, I told you I studied theater, and in first year we had an improvisation class, and it scared the hell out of me. It really did because here I'm extroverted. I've been on stage right in high school.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay, but improv is a whole different thing because
it is.
you completely let go of control. Like you have no control. They give you a scene and you're just going. I mean, this is why some of the greatest comedic actors they've come up through Second City or whatever, and they've done the improv. It is one of the tough. And my teacher, he happened to be American, my professor for improvisation, and one of my best directors. And I was scared blank blank of him and the class every week. I was like,
Right.
oh no.
Right.
Uh, but it forces you to get out of here, and
Exactly.
it also forces you to listen intently on what your partner is saying because you can't react until you know what they like. It's a team thing,
It's
right? So it does. That's a very good question. I mean, it's David. I will be honest with your listeners. It's terrifying. I was
yeah,
terrified, and I've been on the stage for like maybe 6 years at that point. So it's not easy, but that would be.
uh,
I mean, it would be an incredible way, and you would probably end up, you'll get through it, you will figure it out because you're smart. And if you're the teacher and the guidance is, you follow the guidance and you come out of it at the other end and you're going to go, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. That was awesome. And it will get you out of your head because that's the thing about professionals, not just professionals. I know it's a human thing, but the technical professionals that it takes so much intellectualism and study and precision, okay, which
yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
falls under for engineers. Um, Half the battle is getting out of your head. And that's why these types of professionals struggle with the people skills because the people skills are not in your head, they're in
No.
your heart and
Mhm.
your ears, and you're listening to people and you're interacting with people and you're communicating. I mean, one of the first things I always say people when you're going to network, because I bet those engineers when they go on a vacation to a tropical destination and they're going up to the bar or the pool bar, they have no problem striking up a conversation with someone at the bar. So
Right.
one of my little tips is when you're going to a professional association event to network, maybe build referral sources or build potential client networks, think of yourself being on vacation. Take all the stress away. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
about selling yourself. It's the opposite of selling yourself. It's about learning and meeting new people, finding out what they do. Do they need your help? Could they introduce you to
Exactly.
someone who needs your help? It's not selling you. It's not about you. It's about them, right? Like you're on vacation. What's the first question? Where are you from? That's the first natural question you always
Yes.
ask when you're
Yes.
away from home and
Yeah.
you're meeting people. So this is the kind of coaching I give. It's very practical. It's very down to earth. Everybody can associate with that, right? Pretty much everybody,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I like to keep things simple because simple works. Simple's not always easy. Like the end approach, it's simple. It's a simple approach. It's not easy
It's not
because we
easy.
are dealing with human beings on both
Yep.
sides. The law firm owner or the engineering firm owner or the architectural firm owner, they need to become a good leader or hire a good leader, right?
Yes. Yes.
The people managing the people, that's not easy because the first thing we want to do is cookie cutter. We want to have one approach for across the board with everyone. That doesn't fly
The work.
anymore. We got
No.
5 different generations in the workforce right
Yep.
now. Five,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And they're all distinctly different. I'm I'm actually very grateful to be in the Gen X era because I fully understand the boomers and I understand all the generations after me. Um, I think the boomers have the toughest time because from where things have come for them to where things are now, and the Gen Z. I think the boomers and the Gen Z generations are probably looking around, and now they're talking about the Alpha. The Alpha is the next
Yes.
generation after
Yes.
Z.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, holy moly. Anyway, the bottom line is the people part of your business is the most complicated
Right. That is.
and
Is it?
you've never studied, you've never been given the direction, you've never, I mean, they don't even teach this stuff in MBA programs, right? Like
No. No.
it's not taught anywhere, right? So this is why I continue to have a career 20 years in. I thought the economic downturn in '08 would sharpen a law firm. Nope. I thought COVID could be COVID. Nope. Nope. 20 years and I still have a career. And more than ever, the need is still there. And so I'm taking a different approach. I'm showing them that because you want to grow a professional services firm does not mean you need to sacrifice your life. You can have both, but you have to set out with intention. That has to be important to you. And we have to build the plan from the outset. The bonus thing is to, when you're looking at, oftentimes when I'm sitting down with a client, and they could be, say, maybe 5 years in, 10 years in, maybe 20 years in. I always say, what's your end game? Because I want to help you build the valuation of your firm for retirement. And they're like, wow, I haven't even thought about that. I'm like, I know. Most don't. And at the end, they close the door and walk away. And they don't get anything for the lifetime they poured into their business. I want to start putting this into practice now. Here's the beauty of it. All these principles and tactics I'm going to show you are going to help you grow and give you more freedom and increase the value of your firm for whatever you decide to do in the next phase of your career.
Sounds good.
And
Gotta say it. It's but I gotta say that it's been a very good talk with you, Gary. And I
yeah,
look forward to the book. And yes, I think that our this recording will be after after the
yeah,
August time frame, after your July 28th live stream on LinkedIn. But we can, if you do have a link to the after the recording, I'll be glad to put it down and below. But I appreciate your
that'd be
time,
great.
Gary, and I thank again for talking with you, and for all the audience. See you next time.
Thanks, David.
That's a wrap for this episode of Be Your Own Boss. A big thank you to Gary Mitchell for sharing his journey from building businesses and working in politics to helping professional service leaders grow with more confidence, clarity, and freedom. One idea that stands out is this: you can build a successful business and still have a life outside of it, but you can't do it all on your own. Focus on what you do best, build the right team around you, and don't let perfectionism keep you from moving forward. If this conversation gave you a new perspective on leadership, entrepreneurship, or getting out of your own way, be sure to share it with someone who could use the encouragement. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube so you never miss a new conversation. We'd also love to hear from you. If you have questions, comments, or ideas for future episodes, reach out anytime at info@gnggdesignllc.com. Until next time, keep designing your life your way.